Shanquella Robinson is burned into my mind because this beautiful, brilliant young woman, death, still is unavenged.
Months have passed by and Shanquella's demise is yet to reach a concluded investigation. Fans, friends, and family members have fought to dig out the truth, and now, an online journalist, Nancy Grace and Shanquella's lawyer may have exposed details that can save the murder case. Keep watching to know more. The family of slain North Carolina woman Shanquella Robinson has been pushing for answers surrounding her 2022 death and even calling on the White House to take action. And this time, it's serious business. As it has been previously reported, Shanquella died on October 29, 2022, a day after traveling to Cabo with 6 friends. Conflicting reports of how she died swirl around the case, from police records, a death certificate, and the stories told by Robinson's friends, who have since avoided inquiries by the media to tell their stories. Well, according to Shanquella's family members, the Cabo 6 claimed that she died from alcohol poisoning. But neither police records nor the death certificate mention that. The police report did mention, however, that a doctor who responded to the group's vacation villa said she appeared drunk. Unfortunately, Shanquella passed away in the presence of the doctor, who had been on the scene for about 3 hours. And the death certificate stated she died from a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, suggesting her first vertebra became unattached from her skull, which means the claim about alcohol poisoning was a big fat lie and the Cabo 6 needed to be apprehended. Besides, the State Attorney General's Office of Baja California Sur previously said they are investigating Shanquella's death as femicide, but in Mexico, according to CNN, female homicides are initially listed as femicide, although not all female homicides are gender-motivated crimes. This conclusion was, however, drawn when a viral video of the night in question shows a woman who was part of the group that traveled together to Mexico, beating Shanquella in a hotel room. Someone in the background is heard telling Quella to at least fight back. Now, attorneys Ben Crump and Sue Ann Robinson have sent a letter to President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Antony Blinken, calling for the White House to take action in Robinson's death. Federal charges are brought in cases where the crime involves interstate commerce or federal law enforcement agencies. The letter reads, "We know in a transnational case where evidence was possibly transported and persons of interest communicated with each other via cell phone, federal charges could be brought against those responsible for Shanquella's death." Additionally, the attorneys, on behalf of her mother, Salamander Robinson, encourage the U.S. to extradite Shanquella's killer to Mexico or for the U.S. takes jurisdiction of the case. The mother of Shanquella Robinson and her lawyer have revealed new information about her death to legal pundit Nancy Grace as her family and supporters called for authorities to execute an arrest warrant in the case. "I'm trying to get justice and hoping that people with more power can step in and do something," Shanquella's mother, Salamander Robinson, said on a Crime Stories episode with Nancy Grace.
What led you to want this letter sent to the White House?
Trying to get some justice and hoping that people with more.
Also, in an 18-page information packet given to U.S. officials in March, Mexican authorities identified Dejani Jackson as one of the women who traveled to Mexico with Shanquella. She was listed as the perpetrator who was caught on video beating the victim in a hotel room. Not only do we have them on video, but the hotel employees directed cops to the registration, Grace said, and there's all their names and their addresses and their passport numbers. The whole shebang. Regardless, supporters have raised questions about the initial treatment of the investigation and pressured authorities to take action against her 6 travel companions who were absent for more than a 2-hour event, even though she trusted them enough to travel thousands of miles to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and share a villa with them. In fact, pretty much everyone wants the hashtag Cabo 6 to come forward and face the wrath of the law. And this is not surprising, especially because of how dishonest and suspicious the Cabo 6 was. Weeks after Shanquella's death, her parents Salamander Robinson and Bernard Robinson discovered that her travel companions lied about Shanquella's death. They told the Robinsons their 25-year-old daughter died of alcohol poisoning. Her supposed best friend, Colin Cook, one of the travelers in the group, brought Shanquella's luggage and other belongings to the family's home and spent every day comforting them. The group picked out clothes for the funeral they planned to attend, but when the death certificate that shows Shanquella died of a broken spinal cord and neck arrived, they disappeared, Salamander said. And honestly, that's fishy. But soon after, Salamander received a video of another woman lambasting Shanquella with a succession of blows at her head, neck, and other parts of her body, while her others stood by and watched and recorded the attack on their cell phones. Salamander said the footage made her sick to her stomach. She believes her daughter was beaten to death. She wasn't even fighting back. They attacked, Salamander said in a recent podcast with Grace. Well, the Mexican authorities have issued an arrest warrant for femicide, murder against a woman because of her gender. And the Charlotte FBI field office has also opened an investigation into Shanquella's death. The victim's family said authorities had been silent about the warrant's details and the investigation status. But officials say they must extradite the suspect listed on the warrant so that they can face prosecution in Mexico. Meanwhile, Shanquella's parents want everyone in the group to face charges for what they did. The family is still grieving from the shocking loss of the young entrepreneur and business student and questions why authorities are taking so long to make an arrest. This hurt to the core, said Bernard Robinson. She was my only child. She had so much going for herself. Some at the rally questioned if the woman's death investigation would have been handled differently from the beginning if she was another race. The story garnered a global spotlight after her mother came forward, and Black Twitter kept it alive through retweets, comments, and hashtags. The event drew community leaders, activists, and other concerned community members. I'm here to bring words of comfort to the Robinson family and to the community of Charlotte. I'm going to be honest, this is tough. This is hard, Charlotte City Councilman Braxton Winston told WFAE. How many words of comfort can you bring in a situation like this? Although details of the woman's death are still sketchy, a police report shows that medical personnel attended to the woman for hours before she died. In contrast, her death certificate shows she died within minutes of her injuries. Who then is saying the truth? Salamandra, as much as the public is still trying to piece together the details, but she confirms some of the events leading up to her daughter's death during a recent interview with Grace. The mother said the woman in the viral video pounding on Shanquella is Dejini Jackson, who many suspected from the start. Salamandra also revealed that the video of the fight, which solidified her suspicions about Shanquella's cause of death, was circulating before her daughter died. Someone called me and told me before they even arrived back to Charlotte, North Carolina, that they were over there fighting her. So I didn't know how true it was, Salamandra told Grace. The mother said someone eventually posted it on Facebook and a friend saw it and sent it to her. By that time, Shanquella's friends had already returned to North Carolina at least 2 days after her aunt, 29, death. So after they got back and Shanquella had passed, the video had surfaced on Facebook and someone sent it to my family, she said. Salamandra also revealed that her daughter liked to sleep in the nude and probably was sleeping right before the attack in the viral video. She was a good child and had a great heart, and she did not deserve to be treated like that, the mother said.
Miss Robinson, it's never John David, my son, it's my daughter, Lucy. She's the one that always feels sick at school. And granted, I would say about 50% of the time it's true. But the moment I see her name pop up on my phone, I don't care where I am, if I'm in the studio, I can't, my whole heart is in my chest until I can get to her.
Let's see what the fans think. The fan wrote, "Thank you, Nancy Grace, for your continuous pressure on the fight for justice and keeping Shanquella Robinson's story cognizant." At Nancy Grace, hashtag Shanquella Robinson, hashtag Cabo 6. Another fan pleaded, "At Nancy Grace, I just found out this crime can be prosecuted here in the United States. Someone needs to help the mother to make this happen. 7 people went down to Mexico, 6 came back. Please help this Black woman." It's crystal clear that everyone is waiting for answers regarding Shanquella's death, and more importantly, justice needs to be served. Stay connected while we bring more entertainment.